Mark, I would say happy February, but I'm going to say that the actual true name of the month, Mark, which is Billy Zane-UARY. Happy Billy Zane-UARY, Mark.
Well, thank you. That's a wonderful month to be part of, I guess.
That's right. We are doing our first ever Matt and Mark movie show themed month. We've never done a themed month. Other podcasts do themed months, and I was kind of inspired by that because it was like we were talking about it last week. We were like, there's not much we want to talk about that's coming out this month in theaters. And rather than just hodgepodge week to week, what do you want to watch? What the fuck do you want to watch? We were like, fuck it, let's try a theme. And the theme we settled on was Billy Zane-UARY. We arrived here. If you're keeping track at home, since 2025 started, we have successfully done shows about baldness. I didn't intend for the year to start this way.
What a way to cap it off.
Yeah, dude. Hey, I thought to celebrate Billy Zane-UARY, so just so you people at home know, we're celebrating Billy Zane-UARY. We're going to be doing only Billy Zane movies this month. It's not a joke. Every week, you're going to come here in Billy Zane-UARY.
You'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, exactly.
That it's not a joke.
And there will only be Billy Zane movies. It is time, Mark, to fully, truly commence Billy Zane-UARY with our review of 1996's The Phantom. Mark, I thought this was interesting. I wanted to talk about this before we talk about Billy Zane, because obviously that's what this whole thing is about. I wanted to quickly mention Simon Windsor, because we're very much about directors on the show. We like talking about filmmakers, what they've done. Let me just read you a couple movies Simon Windsor directed. Here we go. Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
Oh,
a movie we
did that.
We covered in the very beginning of the show.
Super early.
Yep, in the show's infancy, we covered that. Mark,
wow, who would have thought?
Here we go. Same guy, Simon Windsor, also directed Free Willy, the fucking movie with the whale. Come on,
another movie both of us have probably seen for sure.
Huge. Here's a movie that none of us have seen, but we know about it. It's one of those weird 90s oddities. In fact, I bet you have probably watched it, and I haven't. Quigley Down Under. You know what I'm talking about?
That, not even joking, I wrecked it on this show. It's an amazing Western. It's so fucking good. I'm not even joking.
It's Tom Selleck, like, in the outback. It looks really fun. It's just one of those 90s movies I remember watching the TV spots and the commercials, but it's just one of those movies I've never seen, ever.
Don't let the lead or the title fool you. It's actually a fucking awesome Western.
Even with the pedigree of those films I named, I think, honestly, hard-pressed, if you looked at his filmography, I think I think far and away, clear as day, you could say The Phantom is his best movie. I think it's his best movie that he's made. I think it's a fantastic fucking piece of work. I'm not even kidding. I genuinely love this movie. There isn't a bad note in it. I have no notes. I have no gripes. I have no nitpicks. It's just
what are your
great
recs,
movie.
by the way?
Okay, so yeah. So this week. But I wanted to talk to you about this.
You end it there.
It's Billy Zane-UARY. I want to talk first and foremost about Billy Zane. We have to talk about Billy Zane first, Mark. It's kind of crazy because if you think about it, most of Billy Zane's, I would say, biggest roles are villains. He's a bad guy. He started his career as one of the bad guys in Back to the Future. He's in Biff's gang. He plays Match.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's in both.
That's his first role, right?
I want to say it's one of his first roles, but he's in...
I think when I looked up his filmography, that was like
the very first
Back
one?
to the Future.
Okay, that's pretty fucking rad.
Fucking impressive.
First and second parts of Back to the Future, because he's in the second one too. Okay? Then he plays another villain that I'm not going to mention from another movie that we might be covering. Plays probably the thing he's most well known for, Titanic, where he's a villain, right? So he's basically known for playing villains. This is like the one movie where he gets to be a hero. And I got to tell you, I think he does a fucking phenomenal job.
Right?
Yeah, man. What do you think? What do you think of Billy Zane as the Phantom?
I agree with you. I think I've only seen his villain movies, and by the way, he's a great villain. Just shows how he's a fucking awesome actor. I like Billy Zane, and he's great in The Phantom. Like you get the feeling that he's empathetic. He's a nice guy.
Yes,
and he actually lives up to the tenets of the Phantom.
That's right. The hair may
But
be gone, but the heart isn't. You know what I mean?
well, it's
All the
kind of
heart is there.
it kind of shows like he's very versatile. It's kind of strange that he never picked up any. Well, maybe it was the hair thing. They're like, we don't have a budget for these goddamn wigs. Maybe
They couldn't afford. Basically, we are painting
hair
Hollywood as a bunch of
technology was
cheap
very expensive in the
fucks.
'90s.
Yeah, that they can't pay for hair technology, but they can pay for all this other shit. I actually legitimately think he's fantastic in the movie because he plays it.
Fantastic.
Oh, with a PH. You fantastic with a PH. Um, he's like a solid leading man, dude. Like I watched The Phantom, and even rewatching it for this episode, I was like, it's crazy to me that he didn't get more lead roles off of this, because I would have expected, especially in the day, dude, like a rom-com or at least like another kind of, action movie lead or a co-lead. I know he's in the Sniper movies with Tom Berenger, but like
Oh shit!
people don't really remember those. Those have kind of gone by the wayside. They're fun. The first two are really fun.
Like
But
most Tom Berenger
like
movies.
most Tom Berenger movies, they've gone the way of the buffalo. Like, he's a fucking solid leading man. And it's cool too because one thing I like about the Phantom is what I was realizing watching the movie today. Right? Phantom's like this famous adventure serial from, I don't know, the 20s, the 30s. And I was like, oh man, it's so cool. Because we talk on this show about like, we love the Rocketeer, right? We love
The
the Mask of
Shadow, I would
Zorro,
compare
the
with this one
Shadow,
very much.
right? Yeah, these are all like the revivals of those serials, and I think that the Phantom is definitely in that list. It's like a crown
Oh,
jewel
for
of that
sure.
revival list. But I was thinking about this, dude. If you think about it, with what you know about Indiana Jones, the Phantom would probably consider Indiana Jones a villain.
Well, you know what? I was about to say this movie basically takes that first part of Indiana Jones, and it's like the first characters you encounter in this movie are an amalgamation of all the indie characters.
Yes.
You have the Alfred Molina character, you have the Short Round character, and you
Yep.
basically have
You have
evil
Indiana
Indiana Jones.
Jones.
It's basically Indiana Jones if he believed in things don't belong in the museum, but in his pockets or in the pockets of huge, rich corporate guys like Drax, that piece of garbage. But it doesn't he feel like he even kind of sounds he has the same outfit except it's sleeveless, but
Yeah.
he's
And
basically the
he's even
villain
got a
is
scar,
evil
just
Indiana
like
Jones,
Harrison
yeah.
Ford does, right?
And the stubble and
And
the
the
hat.
stubble, the hat. But here's the thing. I literally was thinking of that. I was like, even if he's like, I just want the money. If Indiana Jones came to the jungle, Indiana Jones wants to come to the jungle and take the item, take the relic to put in a museum to preserve. But
Get a
we see the
fucking
Phantom.
colonizer.
Yeah, dude, we see the Phantom, Kit Walker, saying, hey, I want to return it to its rightful place, which is not a fucking museum, because he even goes to a museum in the movie and he's
He
like,
lives in the jungle.
in the jungle. But that's what I'm saying.
He's
He
like
goes
a legit
he
hero
goes
of
to
the
the
jungle.
museum and he's like, it doesn't fucking belong here. It belongs where you got it from, where you took it from. So I was thinking about that today. I was like, if there was like a crossover, and I think that's what the movie's trying to do. It's trying to tell you straight up, like, hey, this is not Indiana Jones. If Indiana Jones was in this movie, he would be a fucking
He'd
bad
be
guy.
getting his ass kicked by the
That's
Phantom.
right. That's right. I just thought that was kind of interesting, kind of cool. Like, there's your barometer. Like, this guy's always on the side of right. He's always noble, always makes the right decision, right? And that even the heroes that we could compare, other jungle adventure heroes like Indiana Jones, this guy's so straight, he makes those guys look fucking crooked. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
think about it. Like one of the Indiana Jones movies is Raiders. Like those people
yes,
are total raid. They're there to grab
they're
treasure and
grave
get the fuck
robbers.
out. Yeah,
Grave robbers of the Lost
the
Ark.
Phantom protects all these places,
That's right.
and
That's right.
he does a damn good job. Like you were saying, that museum scene is fantastic because they're like, well, we have to do it the procedural, and he just shatters
He
the
doesn't give a
window and
shit
takes
because
it.
he's like, the museum is not a respected place. It's not a sacred place. The jungle is a sacred place. Fuck the museum, and he throws the fucking thing through the glass. That tells you what the Phantom thinks about museums. He don't fucking like them.
It's like fuck museums.
Fuck the museums is what he says. I also want to say too.
That's actually that's a really cool thing though because like you were saying, most of the adventure stuff we see is all about like getting the treasure. You have to get the treasure. The
Right.
end goal is to get the
Is
treasure
to
and
get the
bring as much
treasure.
of it back as
And
you can.
because we see our hero get the treasure and rescue it from villains or danger, we're like, oh, thank God he got the ark, or he got the relic to put into the safe place. But like, no, dude, that's actually also stealing.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, no,
He took
the
it from
other
a
reason,
place.
and they're protected by the original people too because there's booby traps. So they obviously don't want you to take this shit out, you know? It's
Yes.
like the writing's on the wall. And your friend that stuck to the wall, Indy, you dumb
You
bastard.
dumb dumb. You're totally right too about that. Is funny. I didn't even pick up on that. That like that kid is blatantly like a short round. You've got like the fucking Alfred Molina guy. They've even got the truck crossing
It's a
the
truck
rope
fight
bridge.
too.
It's fucking
Yeah.
awesome. That opening sequence.
By the way,
So
that
many good
were you
action
not
sequences in this.
impressed with that rope bridge scene?
I
You
was
know, okay,
well.
so
I
let
am
me put it
super
this way. I
impressed
haven't
by
seen this in
every action
forever
sequence in this movie, and I should
because
say
it's
that
mostly physical effect.
it's all physical stuff. But here's what's cool about it. Mid 90s, if you think about it in your big summer movies, you usually get 3 big action set pieces. In this one, we get 5. I counted. Like, and it moves, dude. You have the jungle bit in the beginning with the rope bridge. You have him fighting the guys, or sorry, you have the rope bridge thing where he rescues the bit. Then you have the shit where he's got to get onto the plane to save her. You've got the shit at the museum. You've
Dude, the
got
plane sequences were
is
nuts.
amazing. You've got the fight at Kabai Sang's, and then there's one more. Oh yeah, there's the thing where he saves her in the jungle, right? Where he's on horseback, and they got to do that amazing bit with the plane where they got to lower themselves down while the horse is running underneath them to escape. That's fucking the physical
Yeah.
effects are amazing, but the stunt work in this movie is fantastic, dude.
And it feels like, I don't know about you, but I think I saw probably it was like a 1080p copy. And usually prior to this, it was just DVD copies. So
Yeah.
usually when you upgrade it, even by that much, yeah, I know 1080p is starting to look like shit now. But when you see the effects, you don't get that weird layered compositing that you would get in 90s movies.
Yeah.
This one looks like, do you know for a fact if a lot of these were done for real? I mean, a lot of them, I know some of them were for sure, but
I don't know about for real. I do know, like, I know an optical when I see one, and there are a couple in this movie, but like, there are
yeah.
2 giant explosions. I love the way the explosions look in this movie, by the way, because it's all like fireballs that shoot straight up. It's like
Yeah.
those classic, almost like those Indiana Jones explosions.
With the
Like,
black smoke with orange
yes,
in it, it's like, it's
it's real
gorgeous.
pyro. It looks so good. But when the plane hits, that's one that my eye gets tricked on. If there's like a fucking switch that happens for an optical, I don't catch it. When they escape the seaplane and it crashes into the side of the mountain,
Dude,
that
there's
looks
no
like it
cut.
happens in camera. Like
Yeah, it
100%
looks
real.
great.
Now, the one in the beginning with the truck coming off the rope bridge, there you can see they fudged a little bit because the perspective gets a little funny, but I don't care. It looks so awesome. Who gives a shit, dude?
Yeah.
You know? Because the other
That's
thing
what these
too,
90s movies got for sure.
oh, and you also have the eruption of the volcano at the end. They have that great shot where they're all kind of watching it from the submarine and you're seeing it kind of explode. There are some opticals there. But again, like, that's what I'm saying. All right, you could see the volcano optical. You could see the rope bridge optical. But the shit with the seaplane on the side of the mountain, dude, I honestly cannot find it. I can't find
Well,
I can't
that's why
find
I
the
have to,
switch.
that's what I'll say then. When it really counts, they definitely use physical effects, like the dropping onto the, just getting out of the airplane. And
Yeah.
the other thing too is like you see there's probably, yeah, they had a way of doing it, but when you see that airplane in the wide shot and they're jumping off of it and there's no one in the pilot seat,
Yes.
and then it hits that wall, you're like, holy shit, that is some impressive effects for a movie that's basically been panned by everyone, or at least most of the people I know.
Yeah, people were
It's
really
this is a
mean to this
solid
movie.
adventure movie for sure. I'm
Yeah.
not I'm what do you think is the reason why it wasn't successful though?
Oh, I don't know. I'll just tell you, I think one of the reasons might be, and it's one of the things that I love about the movie, is that it gets fucking weird. Like, okay, he talks to his dead
It's
dad, the ghost of the former Phantom, right? And we see it played in the movie where other people are seeing it as the Phantom talking to himself. So it's played for laughs, right?
yeah.
Then we have the whole bit where he can clearly communicate with animals and the animals can communicate with each other. I was talking to you about Critters last week. Dude, there's a bit where Phantom's dog and his horse, like the dog runs to tell the horse that he's in danger. It's one of my favorite moments.
By the way,
I was waiting, dude. I was waiting for subtitles to pop up to be like, "Hey, the Phantom is in trouble, rough," and the horse to be like, "Oh shit," and then to take off. That doesn't happen, by the way. If you've never seen the movie, there's no fucking subtitles for the animals. That would be amazing. But wait, there's more. It also gets weird because then we're shown that the big fucking MacGuffin that they're chasing, right? The skulls of Tuganda. Those are no shit magical objects. Like, they shoot lasers out of their eyes, they float, they spin, they do all this crazy shit. Vaporize people. And then they fucking double down on it. Because the Phantom wears a ring that shoots a laser out of it that can protect against the skulls of Tuganda. And that's what I'm saying, dude. All that weird... I fucking love lasers in movies. That shit is awesome. It's never not awesome.
Especially when they have to push with the laser
physically. You gotta have the fight, the force fight, with two lasers fighting each other, two different colored lasers. And you can keep track of which color is winning. I love that shit, dude.
By the way, you know what was cool about that?
But that's what I'm saying, if that stuff is weird, I think, for an audience that's like, oh, the Rocketeer. Like, we just had the Rocketeer. He's a guy that flies around with a jetpack. If there started to be like, if there was fucking voodoo and magic and shit and the Rocketeer, I think people would have been like, fuck this movie.
Oh, I see what I mean, yeah.
And I think when that happens in the Phantom, it starts very normal in the physical, real world. And once it starts getting supernatural, I want to say that's why people turned on it. Because they were like, this is too weird.
My theory is that it's a bit, even though it's PG, it is still dark to me. Like, if you're taking a kid to see it, I saw this when I was younger too, and I just remember like some of the scenes in there were very the one that always got me is the microscope with the blades.
Oh, God,
there's shit in here
dude.
that's like definitely not for kids. It's a bit disturbing, and the villain does some crazy shit.
Yes. So we should say the villain is played by Treat Williams, and he is so fucking good, dude. Xander Drax.
He's like one of the best villains, I think.
That bit
because he's like
with
calm
the microscope,
and like charismatic, but also a horrible human being.
He's a horrible human being. I also love the way that Treat Williams plays him, where he gets like that bit where he's like, "Did you hear the great news? We're going to the Devil's Vortex." It's just kind of the way he like delivers the line. He's like really happy about. It's completely
like
oblivious.
Phil Hartman.
Totally, he's like completely oblivious to everything that's going on. It's like he only cares about his shit. He's like excited about that, even after he like has killed numerous people, stabbed that guy in the eyes. That fucking microscope bit is like the bit that I remember from this movie.
Same here. It's like I will never forget that bit.
Yeah, that's like an all-time thing.
You know what's crazy? Speaking of forgetting things, when you're talking about the skulls, I had forgotten that he had the fourth skull. So to me, experiencing it again since I forgot, I was like, "That is a cool reveal."
Oh, it was like a new reveal for you.
Yeah, because it's not just like a useless ring, you know. It's like there's a reason he's not just wearing a cool skull ring, you know. It actually can control the other three, and you don't even know.
I'll confess this. I told you this earlier, but I always forget fucking Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat is in this movie. So when he shows up, and he even says some Shang Tsung shit when he says, "You pathetic fools," right? He says that same exact shit in this movie. I always laugh my ass off. I had to text Mark right away. I was like, I always forget that fucking Shang Tsung is in this movie.
That guy's awesome, by the way.
That actor is awesome. I want to call him out
in this movie.
That guy's name is, I want to say his name is like Carrie.
He's also in one of my recs for today too, so he popped up a lot this week for me. But he's in a ton of stuff. Like, good shit.
That guy's name is, oh, come on, here we go. I'm going to butcher this. Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa.
That's pretty good, actually.
And
nicely done, sir.
Thank you. And he's Shang Tsung, and he's also Kabai Sang of the Sang Brotherhood. That's what I'm talking about too. You get like pirates in the movie. They're clearly like kind of a little magical, right? You're not just fighting gangsters and nameless bad guys. Like now you've got pirates, you've got lasers, you've got skulls. Like this is all shit I think is awesome.
And they all look different too.
And they all look different, but they definitely feel super comic booky. And yes, the Phantom is a fucking comic. It should feel comic booky. But that's why I want to say, like, I think audiences in 1996, normie audiences were like, this is too weird, I don't like it. You know what I mean?
I would. You know what? The other thing I would say is like his outfit looks terrible, and he just looks like a big purple dildo with spandex.
In
And I
daylight.
kind of wish they did a better job with his outfit. And I do like, by the way, I like that. I guess it turns out that she becomes his girlfriend in the end. I do like that she was like, I know exactly who you are. This
Yeah,
mask and
that was
shit
great.
is
That
like,
was great.
that's such a, I love when people do that. By the way, speaking of names, I got a name connection for you. Outside of your favorite Joe Dante producing this, Dick Vane. Dude, Dick Vane produced this fucking movie. He's but he's not Richard Vane. He's full on Dick Vane in this movie. So
That
something
explains the
happened
costume.
to that guy where later on they were like, dude,
You gotta
you got to go
change
with
your
Richard
name.
Vane. You can't be Dick Vane. Isn't that crazy? Fucking Dick Vane produced this.
Well, I know our next theme month, Mark. It's gonna be all. There's not much going on in April. No. Um, wait. You dropped a bomb about the costume. I'm gonna defend the costume a little bit because I actually do think it looks cool. But I'm with you in the daylight. I don't think it photographs well in daylight. Like, there's that really awkward bit at the end when they have that conversation where she's like, I know who you are. Like, there's a really awkward wide shot where it's daylight. They're like, oh, Christy Swanson's plane is ready to take her away. And he goes out to wait with her, and you can really see that he just, now it looks like a purple leotard. Like, it looks like one guy standing in a purple leotard versus the rest of the movie, when you shoot the Phantom in shadows, or he's fighting at night, or he's fighting a guy in a cave, to me it looks really cool. I like the weird, like, purple skin suit, the black mask, like, it just, I think it looks really fucking cool. But I did have that moment for the first time today, seeing him in daylight, where I was like, wow, that does not photograph great in the sun. Because also
the
too, there's like,
wrist bit looks a bit too much like it's made of wool, but the rest of the outfit is like
is like,
technical fabric.
yes.
And you're like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be like way back when. It doesn't make any
And
sense
also,
that
did you notice
he has
too?
access
I
to
only
this.
noticed it like in the cab, and again at the end in that shot where he's waiting with her for the plane. That like the muscle definition is drawn on the suit. I
Yeah.
hate that. I do hate that. But I will go to bat and tell you, I think that is 20% of the movie. I think the other 80% of the movie, I think the suit looks cool. And he looks cool in it. I do. I really do think it looks cool. I will go to bat for the suit. How dare you besmirch the suit? I thought it looked cool. I thought it looked cool. But that daylight was not forgiving. It was not
It
forgiving
just,
at
by the
all.
way, but by the way, I'll put it this way: the rest of the movie is actually very good looking. It looks like it has a budget. Like the costumes, some of the scenery look like
Yeah.
old school postcards from traveling on boats and shit. Everyone's like dressed to the nines. They got their nice thick overcoats and stuff. So when you see that juxtaposed with the technical fabrics of the Phantom, he just kind of looks almost out of place almost. And his belt is too modern and it pinches his waist in, so he kind of never mind. Anyway.
Wow, Mark got real fashiony on us, dude. I wasn't going that far. I do like that bit where he recognizes evil Indiana Jones because he has the dad's belt. I like that bit. That's when he knows, oh
That's
shit,
a
that's
cool
the guy who
reveal,
killed my
too.
dad. Great fucking reveal. I
Yeah.
also like too
And it
that they
also
don't waste
reveals
time.
that he does die and just gets
Yes,
really
and you have to have different phantoms, right? It's like Black Panther. There was a lot of Black Panther that I kind of picked up on in this movie. Didn't you get that? Like even that, like okay, there's always a Black Panther that protects the jungle, but we know that it's passed down from father to son, right? Same deal here with the Phantom. Correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Black Panther also talk to animals? He has like a bond with animals,
That
and he
I
can kind
don't
of
know,
communicate with
actually.
them. And I was like,
That's a
yep,
good
there we
question.
go
I
again.
forgot.
I was like, Black Panther took a lot from this movie, I think, except the costume.
Damn.
They were like, we need to have a cooler costume.
Actually, if you look at his, I mean, his is more like, of course, it's by today's standards, so it's a little more detailed. But it's essentially the same thing. It's almost like a spandex tight
Yes,
to the body,
tight to the body,
not
and
too many pouches or
he's
things.
got one natural element, which is like the necklace with the teeth or whatever that is. And the Phantom's the same way, right? He's got the tactical suit, but
Oh
he's got
shit.
one item, which is the ring or the belt, I guess too, kind of counts.
What if
Also,
this? It turns out that it is an exact parallel if you watch
dude,
them both side
the
by
writers
side.
of Black Panther totally ripped off the Phantom. You know who we haven't talked about at all, Mark? Christy Swanson, who plays the main female lead in the movie. You know that her other big claim to fame, she was the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, that's
Before
right.
the
Holy
show,
shit! I completely forgot about that.
that
Yeah.
was her. So that was all she was known for. That, and I think, have you ever seen The Chase with Charlie Sheen? It was like a
That
car chase movie, big
I think
cast.
I wrecked that on this show.
I think you
It's
did.
a fun movie. Yeah.
Yeah, she's in that too. That's who that is. So she didn't do too much during this time. I think she's actually great in this movie. You got a lot of familiar faces. Catherine Zeta-Jones is in this as a. I love this too. This is what I'm talking about. It's a cool comic
She's
booky
actually a
thing.
very cool character.
She's kind of a dynamic character because she's bad and then she's good, but she heads up a gang of all lady pilots. And they're very clear about that, where she's like, all my pilots are women. That's like a very cool comic book thing. Like, it's a gang of pilots. Oh, and by the way, they're all ladies. Like, again, I think that's why, like, in the mid-90s, people were like, this is too weird. Too much weird for me, man. I could totally see Siskel and Ebert being total bitches about this movie. Because you know what it is? I think back then, weird wasn't allowed in our blockbusters because weird came off as, like, funny or silly. And they wanted something like a little more serious and a little cooler. Whereas to me, and this could be me watching with 2025 eyes, but like, to me, weird and eccentric is what makes those movies awesome. It's why I keep coming back to them and why they feel still so fresh to me and so different. You know, like if this fucking world wasn't so goddamn unfair, okay? Instead of there being a fucking Ben Affleck Daredevil movie and an Elektra and all this crap, you know what we would have got in the mid 2000s? All these revival guys would have gotten a sequel or would have gotten, oh, we got an update for the Rocketeer, right? Oh, we went back and we got some cool shit with the Phantom. Oh, we got how about a non-silly, and I love the original, but how about a more serious Flash Gordon that treats it like a true sci-fi serial with shootouts and action, and we put a little money behind it? Like, I think it would have been cool. I think that shit got cut off too soon.
Here's a question for you, though. Do you think the current Marvel universe is your universe that you wanted, but it actually turns out that that's a nightmare universe, and these are cooler because they are one-offs? So they're not trying to be
I see
like,
what
and
you
then
mean.
we'll have a sequel. So you get these more self-contained movies that are like, we're putting everything into this one because we don't even know if we'll get a sequel. So maybe this universe
Yeah.
is better, but it sounds cooler if it had more added to it because they're such fun movies. But maybe the end result of that is we just get oversaturated
We're
with
always
crap.
doomed to sequelize ourselves into bullshit, is what you're saying.
Well, look at Blade. If you look at the first Blade as an example, it's like the first Blade's dope. Yeah,
Fuck,
the
great.
second one's fun, but there's diminishing returns on this stuff, I
Oh,
feel.
yeah. Yeah, for sure, dude. And that third one I think is abysmal. You're right, though. Maybe you're right, dude. Maybe, you don't want to, just because dessert is good doesn't mean you should have it for every meal, right? Because then
Well,
it
think about
ceases
it
to
this
be
way.
good.
Like, we love watching The Shadow and we love watching The Phantom because they're like these self-contained movies that
Yep.
they're super entertaining. They're like, they were allowed to be weird and do crazy shit that I feels like most studios would be afraid to do. Like, just think of that pitch. It's like this guy, the Shadow. He's like, he's in this. I only heard about him from like those audio dramatizations, and then he's got a movie.
Yes.
That's a pretty ballsy thing to do, and
It's
it's
pretty
like a
fucking awesome.
super old property too. The same with the Phantom. It's like we're taking really old shit and we're
Yes.
gonna make it its own movie. That's pretty
Yeah,
fucking
and I think
cool.
it all started. I think Indiana Jones is really the reason we got. I'll run it down. Dick Tracy, the Rocketeer, the Phantom, the Mask of Zorro, and I want to say there was one more, but now I'm forgetting. There's like another serial adventure movie that we got in the '90s that I am now that is now escaping me.
The Shadow?
The Shadow. Goddamn. Thank you, Jess. The Shadow, our producer in the booth. And there's one more though. Because I wasn't thinking of The Shadow. There's one more.
Radio or comic?
No, I don't know, but it was just like a popular serial that
Serial?
they made into a movie.
Batman?
Mm.
I know that's
Smart ass! Batman. Aren't you talking about Batman? Well, I guess technically, yes.
Yeah, I guess Batman would. Oh, wait, would you say Spawn?
No, Spawn's too new, too cool, too edgy. I think it's more like, hey, this was a serial we had in the 30s and 40s.
Oh,
and
30s and 40s.
We brought it back to... could you imagine a Spawn serial in the 30s? People would have been fucking mortified. They would have been terrified. They would have been running out of the movie house
There's
like...
a pedophile clown in this?
They're like, this guy was brought back to life by the devil himself, and now he's fighting clowns and monsters. These people were afraid of trains in movie theaters because they thought the fucking train was going to come through the screen. Did you watch a Spawn serial? They would fucking die, Mark. Spawn. You know what, though? To be fair to the producer in the booth, Batman did have serials in the 40s because he had those ridiculous fucking long-ass ears and he looked really silly. Have you ever seen those?
No, I think I may have seen some stills from them, but I don't know too much about like Batman's origins, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I'm going to show you. I'll just show you one thing because I think it looks fucking ridiculous. Let me share my screen. This is Batman from the 40s. Look at his fucking ears. Here you go.
The spread ones look terrible.
That's real. That's 100% real. So you can look up Batman 40s movie, and you will see what the Batman of old. It actually looks kind of like Tom Berenger, to be quite honest.
That looks
Tom
weird.
Berenger, is that
Wait,
you?
Who's that?
This is Robin.
Wait, which one? I don't remember these black. There were black and white ones?
Yeah, dude, from the 40s. This is how Batman
Wow.
started. It was like a serial.
I remember Superman had like an old.
That's what it is, dude. Because he's just got to rock the one suit, so he kind of looks cool no matter what. Batman, just like wig technology had to evolve, Mark. So did the fucking bat technology. Mark, do you have anything else you want to say about the Phantom?
You know what? When I was watching it, I had all these things I wanted to say, but now I just completely forgot.
It's just gone. Well, in playing with our Billy
But I just had like a
Zane-y-Uary
great
month,
time watching it, though, for sure.
to stay in line with Billy Zane-y-Uary, Mark, how many Zanes? What's a Zane-esque review for you? Well, how many Billy Zanes do you give this movie, Mark?
How many we're giving it out of, or should
Let's
we be?
say-
How many hair follicles do you want to give it?
I'm gonna say you can go up to 10 Zanes if you want. How many Zanes?
I'd
for the
say.
Phantom.
Are we going to use this as a way to?
Yeah,
ladder
we should
the-
have this
the-
as a metric. And
Okay,
think about
let's
this
see.
though, because he's also the metric. You have to consider his performance first and foremost, not just the movie. Billy Zane in the movie. How many Zanes?
You know what? I'm going to give this one. I'm going to go pretty high and give this one an 8 because
Yeah.
I feel as though most Billy Zane movies, he's not really featured a lot because he's either a villain or a side character, right?
Yeah.
So this one is very Billy Zane centric. So I'm gonna have to give it like it. By the way, the 10 is this only for Billy Zane films, right?
Only for
This
Billy
is
Zane
very-
films.
Okay, I'll give this a 10. Fuck it, I don't care. I love this movie that much.
I was gonna say, dude, if every Zane movie gets a 10 this month, that's fine because it's Billy Zane-y-Uary.
Yeah.
So I'm also gonna
That's
give it
the
10
way it
Zanes.
should be.
10 out of 10 Zanes for the Phantom. Go watch this fucking
No,
movie.
Here's the thing: is it's like I feel as though it has a ton of rewatchability just because it is self-contained. It's not like
Yes.
This is not some Marvel franchise where you got to watch like 20 movies just to get an idea of what you're seeing.
Yes.
This one is like you can watch it beginning to end. You can watch with different groups of people. It's like it's open for everyone. It's like it's just a great entertaining
and
movie.
it gives you you're absolutely right. It gives you all the hand holding you need, and it does it in such an economical way. It's like, yep. It even says, I love that. The fucking title card says for those who came in late. Like basically
yeah. By the way, that is
previously
such
on.
a cool.
It's such a cool way to phrase that, but it's basically a previously on. You learn all about the Phantom lore in about 2 minutes, and then you're in.
Stupid. When I first started the movie,
You were like, did I miss
because
something?
like I said, I had forgotten about that. I was like, oh shit, I'm watching the wrong movie.
Oh man, it's just the
'Cause
Phantom 2.
it starts off with like fucking swashbuckling on a pirate ship,
yes.
and then like
And for
previously
those who
on,
came
and
in
it's
late,
sort of like because it's the only movie. I was like, shit,
Mark,
did I get like that weird?
were you sitting at your
2000s
house eating ice cream and you were like, I did come in late. Did I miss something? Did I miss a whole bunch of... Did I miss an hour of this movie?
I'm coming back with just like I've only been to the kitchen for like 5 minutes
Yeah,
to get
you
snacks,
just
and I
left.
walk back.
I love that you wouldn't have paused the
I gotta
movie.
rewind the whole fucking
Like a
movie.
savage, you pressed play, walked away to get snacks, and came back. Like you thought it was going to have this big extended title sequence, like it's a goddamn Woody Allen movie that takes 10 minutes to be like, production design, locations,
Yeah, like every studio,
every
presented
fucking
by-
department. Every department gets a... Yeah, you thought it was an indie movie from another country that has 89 production shingles in front of it.
And then it also has to have the country's film division, you
Yep.
know, where it's like, and the Irish Film Board.
They're like, Irish Film Lottery Award winners present.
It's
always the lottery.
That's
We should ask the
Holy shit,
the
that's
Love
a
of
great
Cinema
one.
will fucking totally know what that is. That's those movies. Every Love of Cinema movie
Dude,
has
by the
one
way,
lottery.
kudos to you for remembering that.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Because
You
I
know
just
why,
remembered
dude?
the Irish
Because
part.
I just watched Flow, and that had like a bunch of
Oh.
those. Like different lotteries and different fucking countries and different production. I was like, how many fucking logos am I gonna have to sit through to get to this goddamn movie?
That's when you should be like super impressed with indie filmmakers because you need so much fucking money. There's like all these partnerships that have to
that you
appear at
have
the
to
beginning.
sell a sliver, every sliver of your movie to 89 different companies to get the movie made. Okay. I am also going to give it 10 out of 10 Zanes. I think The Phantom is a spectacular movie, a fan with a PH-tastic movie. Great adventure. I think this is Simon Winsor's best movie by a mile. I want to say it's the best Billy Zane movie, but I'd be lying, Mark, because I think we're going to be talking about the best Billy Zane movie still to come. Still to come, my friend. Lots more on Billy Zane-uary. Stay tuned. What movie will we bring into the Zane-averse next week?
And tell us some of your favorite Billy Zane movies.
Thank you. Yeah, please tell us some of your favorite Billy Zane movies. Although, funny enough, speaking of Love of Cinema, shout out to our buddy Dave the Aussie from Love of Cinema. He commented, dead calm. And I said, Dave, stay tuned, brother, because you might just get your wish.